Nice to see you all. Wow. Well, Deb. You all look so glamorous, don't they, Deb? Wow. Well, welcome everyone to the first Native American Heritage Month reception at the White House. So it's wonderful to be here with so many friends like Congresswoman Davids, Shelley Lowe, our first Native American chair of the National Endowment for the Humanities, and so many tribal leaders. Last Friday, a flame was lit to dedicate the National Native American Veterans Memorial. The flame sits in an unbroken circle, welcoming memories of those living and lost, and offering healing to those who remain. And all around it float the voices of Native singers carried on the wind. The memorial is dedicated to soldiers like Specialist Laurie Piastra, a mom and member of the Hopi tribe who at the age of 23 deployed to Iraq. Both her father and her grandfather were war veterans, and she was so proud to serve. But in a city in southern Iraq, her company was ambushed. During the fighting that followed, she saved at least one of her fellow soldiers' lives before she was wounded and taken prisoner. When her community back home in Tuba City heard that she was missing, they refused to give up hope. They turned porch lights on every night to help her find her way home, even in the darkness. Laurie gave her life for our country, the first woman to die on the front lines of Iraq. But her kindness, courage, and commitment to this nation are not lost. They live on in the hearts of her community and in the flame that honors her memory on the National Mall. Through my Joining Forces initiative, I've worked to lift up stories like Laurie's and so many others, people who serve in extraordinary ways every single day. And through that work, I've seen that Native Americans' military service hasn't always been recognized as it should. Still, that hasn't stopped this community from serving at higher rates than any other group. If you're a veteran here, would you raise your hand so we can acknowledge you? Thank you so much for your service to our country. Sometimes the promise of this country lives in the hearts of those who have never felt the full measure of that promise. Those who fight hardest for the shining country that we can and will be. I see that in this crowd today, leaders who continue to show us the meaning of courage, duty, and honor. In the last 2 years, I've met with self-described sister warriors of the Navajo Nation, mental health advocates of the Saginaw Chippewa, I did it, Indian tribe of Michigan. And I've met with those leading the fight against cancer on the Tohono O'odham Nation, healthcare leaders of the Alaska Native Medical Center. I see where you are. And students studying their Cherokee language. And I see how you have shaped our past and how you are leading us into the future. President Biden, my husband, is working every day to to help this country reflect our shared values. He understands that representation isn't always about checking a box, but about lifting up the voices that we all need to hear, like Chair Lowe and Secretary Haaland. We are stronger when we recognize that our differences are precious and our similarities infinite. That's why he's made sure that this community is reflected not in just one bill or proclamation, but in every single piece of legislation that he's signed. From the American Rescue Plan, which provided the single largest investment for Native communities in history. To the bipartisan infrastructure law, which is bringing historic funding to Indian country for broadband, water access, roads, and bridges. To the, yes, we can clap for that. To the Inflation Reduction Act, which helps Native communities fight the effects of climate change, bring electricity to their homes, and develop clean energy. My husband continues to listen and to learn from your voices, and more importantly, to act. Just yesterday, the White House convened a tribal youth forum where young people, I see a lot of you shaking your heads, where a lot of young people from around the country came together with administration officials to map out the progress they wish to create. And he is looking forward to welcoming tribal leaders for the White House Tribal Nations Summit at the end of this month. Joe and his entire administration stand with Indian country today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come. If you visit the National Native American Veterans Memorial, you may hear a veteran song by the Black Lodge Singers. You all know. It begins with a voice describing why he puts on red paint. He says it signifies, and I quote, that you are ready for anything, that your heart is good, that you're going to fight for your family. That's what warrior means, to be ready for anything, to fight for what you believe in. And yes, thank you for that. And as we build a brighter tomorrow, all of you are leading the way, coming together to light a better path, healing each other and the country we call home, working tirelessly for the communities that you love. And I see that spirit in you too, good-hearted, ready for anything, fighting for what you believe in, for the future that we all share. I am honored to stand with you and to welcome you to the White House, your house. And now, I would like to introduce a woman who works every day to protect our environment, support our families, and work with tribes across the country. Everyone, please welcome Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland.
I love you too. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see you all here. Guwatsi haupa, duhiname itzatuitsa shuimi hanu. Thank you so much, Dr. Biden. Thank you for inviting all of us here. We're all, as you can tell, we're so happy to be here and for that very nice introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'm Deb Haaland, Secretary of the Interior and proud member of the Pueblo of Laguna. It's an honor to join you at the White House's Native American Heritage Month celebration, and I'm proud to stand in this iconic building which rests on the ancestral homelands of the Anacostan and Piscataway people. As the First Lady said, this is the first celebration of this month, but I'll tell you, it will not be the last.
That's right.
In fact, we celebrate Indigenous culture and people all year long, but today and this month give us a special opportunity to both reflect and share with others our perspectives about our world by using our voices and being seen. When I look around this room at so many friends, family, and leaders, I can't help but think that those who came before us worked and fought and sacrificed so that we could all be here together. The Biden-Harris administration ushered in a new era that will far outlast our leadership. Since day one, President Biden charged this administration with living up to our treaty and trust responsibilities and ensuring that we honor our government-to-government relationship with tribes. We're reaching these goals by centering Indigenous knowledge, uplifting nature-based solutions, and addressing the harms of our past through dedicated and intentional collaboration. In just 2 years, we have made some immense progress that deserves to be celebrated. We are paving the way for new historic co-management agreements like the one recently reached for Bears Ears National Monument in Utah. And that will enable tribes to work with the federal government to ensure the continued prosperity of our ancestral homelands. We are restoring tribal homelands, like the recent transfer of the National Bison Range to the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes of the Flathead Reservation in Montana. We are strengthening Indigenous connections to support our children with our languages and the knowledge that our ancestors sought to pass down. I was grateful to join the First Lady to witness the fruits of language revitalization firsthand when visiting the Cherokee Language Immersion School in Oklahoma last year. We are also centering Indigenous knowledge and investing in vulnerable communities to combat the climate crisis. Since stepping into office, we have followed through on our promises to strengthen tribes and their cultures, economies, and lands. This work is supported by a vast investment of resources through the American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and the Inflation Reduction Act. In just 20 months, we have invested more than $45 billion into Indian country. And to give you some perspective about that number, that is more than 15 years worth of funding from the Bureau of Indian Affairs annual budget in less than 2 years. When I reflect on my childhood in Mesita, my family's small village on the Laguna Pueblo, and the hours I spent hauling water to my grandmother's home from the one spigot in the middle of the village, I think about the impact investments like these will have on communities like ours. It is undeniable that this month we have a lot to celebrate, from the strength of Indigenous communities to the traditions and cultures that they have survived millennia, and our hope and work for the future generations to build upon that strong foundation. But we cannot honor these accomplishments in a vacuum. With this celebration comes the somber reminder that for too long, Indigenous peoples have been forced to the margins. We see that in the disproportionate and devastating impact that the COVID-19 pandemic had on Native communities. We see it in the historical lack of funding to address the missing and murdered Indigenous peoples crisis. And we see it in our work to address the harmful legacy of the federal Indian boarding schools and other intergenerational assimilation policies. But the good news is, Indigenous people and Indigenous knowledge are at the decision-making tables, and we aren't going back. Indigenous people are making a difference and shattering glass ceilings every single day. They're breaking down barriers so that our communities have the representation they deserve everywhere, in state houses, in Congress, in boardrooms, on foundations, in classrooms, in film, television, fashion, science. And even in the president's cabinet. We are leading critical work across this administration, including Chief Lynn Malerba, the first Native American to serve as Treasurer of the United States. They feed our souls and hearts through their artwork and their words, like Joy Harjo, the first Native American Poet Laureate of the United States. And they are going where no one has gone before. That's right, the Marine Corps Colonel, Nicole Mann, is the first Native woman in outer space. And they're introducing us to new flavors and advancing our understanding of Indigenous food sovereignty, like Chef Lauren Barker, who teaches at the Southwestern Indian Polytechnic Institute in New Mexico and was recently recognized as the Chef of the Year by the American Culinary Federation. Indigenous people make our world better. They enrich our lives and protect our country. They enlighten us through books and challenge us in how to think about the world around us. This month, we celebrate these important contributions and the strides Indigenous people have made. We celebrate President Biden and our gracious and supportive First Lady who see us and value us. We celebrate you, we celebrate us, and we celebrate all that will come next. Thank you all so much. Dawa'a. I'm not done yet. You didn't think I was going to talk about power of Native influence in the arts without some amazing artists, did you? In a moment, as soon as I clear off a few things on this stage, we will enjoy a performance by Native American hoop dancer Shondine Lawrence and her father, Steve Lawrence, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you.
Bunch of wild Indians. Kokwai, umpita, mahala kakini. Yep, matua, Steve Wickwire Lawrence. Yep, dawa wangwa. Translation, thank you. I'm happy we have all arrived here safely. My name is Steve Wickwire Lawrence, and I'm a member of the Hopi Sun Clan. Tonight we're going to share a performance with you, the Native American Hoop Dance. In its original form, it was a healing ceremony. So if you're out of balance physically, spiritually, or mentally, it was one of the many ceremonies that the medicine man would prepare for you. Today's contemporary hoop dance celebrates the beauty of Mother Nature and all the gifts that she gives us on a daily basis. During the performance, you'll see formations that represent the butterfly, the horse, the ladder of life, and our American symbol, the eagle. If you see a design that you like, feel free to applause. I'm proud to introduce my daughter, Shondine Sonawai Lawrence, who is a champion hoop dancer. We dedicate this dance to President Joe Biden and hope he has success on his international travels, and we pray for him daily. Sigoueno and Lomasoho.
Wow. Can we give another round of applause to Steve and Chandine? That was amazing, truly amazing. I think she had the hard part.
Indian aerobics.
So I would like to welcome you all to enjoy yourselves at a reception, and thank you once again for coming to the White House, your house, the people's house. Thank you.